Welcome to the first episode of the Youth Board Asks. I am a Supercell Youth Board member. My name is Yusuf.
I'm Hannah and I'm also on the Supercell Anti-Bullying Youth Board. And today we are joined with Jess, who is responsible for user safety at Supercell.
Hi guys.
So, first question. What does the report button actually do when somebody files it in your games? A lot of people have been asking on Reddit and social media, it doesn't do anything.
That's a good question, and I totally get why people get that feeling. So what happens is that when you tap the report button in the chat, that particular message plus a little bit of the context, so the surrounding conversation, gets sent to our backend, and there it is checked by a machine learning system.
Okay.
So the machine learning kind of reads through the conversation and tries to decide, okay, how bad is this actually?
So what are the different classifications for the reports?
So there's a high risk, medium risk, and low risk.
So what are definitions for like high, medium, and low?
We get a lot of reports every day because people use the report button a lot, which is great. I mean, that's what they should be doing. However, there are also a lot of people who just kind of play around with it and see like, oh, if I push this report button, maybe the person gets banned, you know? So that means we get a lot of false reports as well.
Yeah.
So the machine learning system essentially helps us understand and prioritize like which reports need immediate attention. Mm-hmm. So to come to your question, low risk would basically be all these false reports, you know, where people are just playing around. Medium risk are reports that need a lot of context. So where, for example, if we are in the same clan and we're friends, we might have some, you know, we might start some banter around like which troops are the best, and we might use some words that seem offensive to others, but since we're friends, it's kind of okay, right? Those are reports that just need a lot of context where people then, read through it and understand, is it friends bantering with each other, or is it people being really toxic? And then high risk on the other end are reports of things that are just never okay, no matter what the context, no matter if it's friends or, you know, talking or strangers. Yeah. So high risk are things that just need immediate attention and that are never okay.
Yeah. Sure.
So do people automatically get banned once the report has been filed?
Even if your report would go into high risk, the machine learning is only there to prioritize and put them into these different buckets. But then it's actually our moderators, so humans, who read through the reports once more and decide if a penalty is needed or not.
And how serious can some of the punishments be for the reports? Could like potentially somebody go to, you know, jail or...
I'm not aware that somebody went to jail, but that being said, some things are indeed so bad that we have to inform the police. So that happens rarely, but it does happen. However, the majority of reports, what happens is you would get a ban.
Yeah.
So you would be banned for, let's say, 2 days or 7 days or 14 days, or maybe even permanently from the game. So that means you're banned not just from the chat, but you can't actually access the game. So you kind of take a break.
What happens if someone thinks they don't deserve the ban they've been given them?
That's a good point. I mean, that can happen because we're all humans and the moderators are humans and the people who said something offensive are humans. So if that happens, they can contact our support and kind of appeal the decision. And we will then also review the case and, you know, in very rare cases, we might change our opinion. But it's very rare. Usually our moderators are very carefully when they ban people because, you know, it's not something we take lightly.
If it's the same person that's got banned, that has made a new account or like a new, you know, ID, they could potentially be saying the same things. So how would you deal with that?
That's a tricky one because it depends on a lot of things, like if the person has a new device, for example, maybe they move, then it's very hard for us to see if it is the same person. Generally speaking, a ban is for a particular account and not for a particular device or IP address. We can't really do that.
So why don't you just add a smarter profanity filter so before any negative comments get out, it's stopped?
Yeah, that's a very good point. And actually, I'm glad you asked because that's something we're working on right now. Because we also understood that rather than issuing penalties after something bad has been said, it would be better to just prevent it from going out there in the first place. And also, like, kind of, you know, sometimes when you say something, it gets filtered out, although it shouldn't, so it's a false positive. And sometimes things that should be filtered don't get filtered. So that's where we're trying to find a smarter system, so that rather than having to issue penalties afterwards, just filtering these things that are never cool to be said. We're testing it in our game Heyday right now.
Okay.
And in a few weeks' time, we should know whether it's doing a better job, and then we'll hopefully roll it out to all of the games.
So what else are you currently working on?
So except for the profanity filter, another thing that we're working on is creating a feedback loop for the report button.
What is that exactly?
So right now, when you tap the report button, all you get is a pop-up that says, "Thank you for reporting, we'll look into it," and then nothing, right? So then you have no clue what happens. And I think that's also why many people think that, the report button doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we want to give feedback to the person who has made the report, that, hey, now we've reviewed your report and we've taken action, so that the person has a bit more peace of mind knowing that, okay, my action actually helped making the space safer.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I think that's all we have time for, so really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And now that you know what the report button does, make sure you use it.
And remember that it's not robots, it's actually humans. So until next time,
Stay safe and play fair.